Ace the Blaze. KTUL-TV, Tulsa.
Welcome to CBS Sports Saturday. Now, Brent Musburger.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to CBS Sports Saturday on a day which should feature some of our closest confrontations of the year, no matter the sport. We'll start off with NCAA basketball. Most of you will see the enormous talent from the Missouri Valley Conference when Wichita State faces Tulsa. Others will see former Nick Great Willis Reed's Creighton Blue Jays against Marquette. And following basketball, it's over to Madison Square Garden, where live, it'll be John McEnroe against Yvonne Lindell in the semifinals of the Grand Prix Masters. We'll also fill you in on the latest in World Cup skiing and show you what makes the doctor and his Philadelphia 76ers tick. Time permitting, all that to come after tip-off here on CBS.
Today from the oil capital, it's Tulsa against Wichita State. The Shockers last year, under the direction of Gene Smithson, were Missouri Valley champs, winning 26 games. In 6'8" forward Cliff Levingston, he has one of the game's most powerful players. Levingston, a preseason All-American, is among the nation's top rebounders. Tulsa is coached by Nolan Richardson, who in his first year led the Golden Hurricane to the NIT Championship. Paul Pressey was Tulsa's MVP last year. He's one of the nation's best defenders, a complete player who, according to Richardson, is like a coach on the floor. Wichita State goes against Tulsa in NCAA basketball on CBS.
CBS Sports presents NCAA basketball. Today's game between the Wichita State Shockers and the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. Live from Assembly Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Today's game is sponsored by U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. And by Chevrolet, who invite you to see all the good things for 1982 at your local Chevy dealer. Chevy makes good things happen.
Welcome to the Tulsa Assembly Center in downtown Tulsa, where today the 18th-ranked Tulsa Golden Hurricane plays host to the Wichita State Shockers. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender. Before we get into today's game, I'm sure everyone is aware of the fact that Wichita State University was put on 3 years of probation by the NCAA. With us, the head coach of the Shockers, Gene Smithson. And, Gene, your reaction to the probation?
Well, I think it's unfair, but we're not going to use that as an excuse. We're going to have a great program at Wichita State University. We're going to get in the trenches and go to work.
The uncertainty, I'm sure, was a problem. How have you told your kids to approach the rest of the year?
Well, we play every game like it's the NCAA tournament. We're playing for pride, and we're playing for Wichita State University, and we will continue to do that.
Gene, good luck today.
Thank you.
And now, Billy Packer, my broadcasting colleague.
Gary?
How do you think this probation will affect the Shockers?
I think the record speaks for itself, Gary. Ever since it's really come down on them, and before that, Wichita State has not played well. Today is the first day, really, maybe they'd be out from underneath the cloud. We'll see how they react, but so far it hasn't been good.
Billy, the Shockers will be without Antoine Carr, their outstanding forward.
Antoine Carr might have the best body of any player in college basketball. I looked at him, I said, Antoine, how in the world could you hurt a body like that? But he will not play today, I don't think, because he's really ginger on that leg.
On the other hand, Tulsa's been without their forward, David Brown.
He doesn't have, of course, the same credentials as far as the nation is concerned, but when he got hurt, he was the leading scorer for Tulsa. Great quickness, and it really takes away from their depth.
All right, strategy-wise, what's going to happen?
I think the key is Wichita State has not played well against the zone. I expect the Tulsa to go there early.
All right. Tulsa has won 25 in a row here. They've won the last 3. We'll be back with the start of today's game in just a moment.
The bright new shape of Chevrolet is here. Celebrity. A new shape of room, luxury, comfort, and a hushed sense of quiet. Reflected in a bright new size of Chevrolet. Celebrity. Surprising mileage with standard engine electronic fuel injection. The new shape of front-wheel drive. The new shape of aerodynamics. The bright new shape of Chevrolet is here. Celebrity.
Chevy makes good things happen.
Here's to good friends
Tonight is kind of special.
Where'd he go?
The view will
I think he's lost.
Must
He
say
always
something
gets
more
lost.
somehow.
Hey, anybody miss me? Take a look at this.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrau.
And here's to our travel agent.
Be Lowenbrau.
Sometimes I don't want my kids watching what's on TV, but they can still watch something great with our RCA video disc player and video discs. Just flip a switch, and on our TV, our kids can see the magic of Walt Disney and Charlie Brown, the Muppets and Mickey Mouse, the Black Stallion, Star Trek, and lots more. And the player costs less than $500.
Hello, Charlie Brown.
Buy the player now and get $50 or 3 video discs direct from RCA. Details at your participating RCA dealer.
New Backwoods Smokes just hit town. Looking wild, but tasting mild.
New Backwoods Smokes. How can anything that looks so wild taste so mild? New Backwoods Smokes. How can anything that looks so wild taste so mild?
New Backwoods Smokes. All natural tobacco, hand-rolled look in a Keep 'em Fresh pocket pouch.
How can anything that looks so wild taste so mild?
It's a sold-out Tulsa Assembly Center. They sold this game out the first day. The tickets went on sale as these two arch rivals from the Missouri Valley Conference. Tulsa going against Wichita State. The two men today, Ron Zecker and Bobby Deibler, both of the Missouri Valley Conference. Tulsa last year winning 91-84 here, and then in 2 overtimes. They won in Wichita last year, 74-72. You can see Vanley going in place of the injured David Brown, and Jay Jackson is in place of Antoine Carr. Carr, outstanding junior, and Brown, a senior. We watched him yesterday. He went down again and kind of re-injured the knee in practice. There is Carr. He is dressed, but he just couldn't move around today.
No, he couldn't, and he'll probably get back into action, no, before Brown will, because that knee on Brown really swelled up over the evening.
Paul Pressey has it for the Golden Hurricane. Tulsa coming in here with a brilliant record of 11-2, but they start out a little shaky. Here's Tony Martin, the quarterback of the ball club for Wichita State. And that's what Nolan Richardson said. Rebounding will be the key, and coming down with it was Greg Stewart.
Gary, get your breath and get a hat on, because these guys are going to fly up and down this floor.
Transition basketball. Look at that, twice. There's the stats we mentioned. One of those a double overtime win in Wichita. Pressey, they say he doesn't shoot enough.
Well, the thing about Pressey is he only shoots in the big ball games. He may go against the weaker teams, take 3 or 4 shots. Against big clubs, look for him to go out and try to have a big day. And here's the zone, Gary, right away. 2-1-2. Wichita State really has had problems with the zone offense.
We saw that against Bradley. It just stymied them the entire game. They had only 47 points. And now that's what Tulsa's picked up on. But they will change up, Billy. They really change up their defenses.
Dreiling with an elbow, got away with it, hit Vanley right in the chest.
But it will not count. He's called for traveling.
Dreiling came right out, put an elbow right through Vanley's chest, got away with it, and then got called for traveling down the lane. Looked like a pretty good move.
Now looking at the situation.
There's a 1-2-2 zone now down there by Wichita State. Both teams going to zone in the half-court situation.
That was last year the biggest problem for Tulsa is their outside shooting, but look at that shot by Mike Anderson. Anderson, a senior out of Birmingham, Alabama. Half his family is down here for this game. They drove all the way from Birmingham. Livingston gets it off to Jackson. Jackson started the first 7 games of the year. Then they started Dreiling, and here he is, a big 7'1" freshman. Pressey has a rebound, and he's been fouled. Livingston will come up with a personal.
Pressey, of course, has played in the backcourt all last year. This year he's moved up to the forward position, but he can play any place on the court. Guard, forward, and even could go inside. He's a very talented ball player.
Now this is Anderson along with Bradley as you look high above Tulsa Assembly Center. The forwards Pressey and Vanley, and in the middle is Greg Stewart.
We'll see that zone now, a 1-2-2. When you've got a guy like Livingston going out in the corner, he's tough.
Dreiling with the foul. Stewart getting open very well against that zone.
Took it right to Dreiling. Excellent leapers on both clubs. So in practice, Nolan Richardson puts first-team men against first team, and therefore they're not afraid to go inside.
Now let's get a scouting report on Wichita State. Here's Jim Valvano of North Carolina State.
For us, the best way to play Wichita State and the clubs who have beaten them has been a controlled game, a tempo game, try to not let their inside people murder you, and to control the offensive end of the floor in a kind of a low-scoring game. I felt if the game's in the 80s or 90s, it favors Wichita State. But this Wichita State-Tulsa matchup is two clubs that can really go after each other. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, no question about it.
They had to tie Valvano's hands behind him so they weren't standing in front of his face. And that was a picture of Everett Case behind him, the great coach for NC State.
North Carolina State saw Wichita State in the Rainbow Classic. That was Jay Jackson hitting the shot after Stewart hit both his free throws.
Look for Jackson maybe to have a big game. He's an excellent outside shooter, and he needs to get off the track early.
Manley, the young sophomore from Phoenix, can't hang on to it. Martin, transition basketball. Here's the freshman, Audrey Sherrod, out to Livingston. And they move the ball, but that zone again being deployed. Sherrod, an excellent shooter, but it won't go for him.
Aubrey has got a classic jump shot. In the Bradley game, he was really dropping his hands quickly, a little bit off balance when he came down this time, but look for Aubrey Sherrod to become one of the great guards in the country.
Gene Smith in his fourth year, trying to hit from outside. Jackson rips it down. Here's Martin. Martin played at Casper Wyoming College. He may have walked, but they didn't get it.
Sure did. Two officials working his game, Gary. Only the WAC in the Missouri Valley using two this year.
Effectively by Manley. He's 6'10". He weighs about 30 pounds less. He toured South America, played with an all-NIT squad, and really came back in excellent shape this year.
I don't think this is the tempo Jim Valvano was talking about. Both of these clubs really moving up the court. Dreiling got caught for that elbow.
Boy, Dreiling is so big, committing his second personal foul. You know, we talked about Dreiling with the coaches, and I said to Rick Shore, what do you think about Dreiling when you think about him? He says, just big, very big. And now, look at this. Antoine Carr's coming in. That's a surprise.
It really is a surprise. Of course, they have to get Dreiling out of there to go ahead and shore up with a little bit more experience inside, both defensively and offensively. Let's see if Antoine Carr can move.
Carr, number 35. He is the junior out of Wichita Heights. Second team All-Missouri Valley Conference pick. Anderson again. Sherrod. And reaching in was Pressey. All Pressey with those long arms. In fact, Richardson said his arms get longer as the game wears on.
There you see him reaching on in there, and you know, that's quite a statement that he's making. Obviously, what he means by that is he becomes quicker and quicker and tougher as a defensive player as the game gets tougher.
There's Carr trying to force the shot.
Pressey again on the rebound. Bad pass.
And we're going to have a foul against Wichita State, and they are really picking him up in a hurry. Sherrod this time.
Well, who do you think he's trying to impersonate?
I give up. Who? He does that with every coach that comes in.
Well, I think that's a pretty good likeness.
That's a 14th foul already against Wichita State. Here's Pressey, the young man from Richmond, Virginia. He, along with four others, came from that Western Texas junior college team that Richardson had that won the NJCAA title.
Great pass. Right off the dribble by Livingston. Super pass.
Tony Martin, his first 2 points, 6-4 in favor of the Hurricane.
And the man now by Wichita State. We'll see what Carr can do inside.
Bradley, who came back from an appendectomy this year, broken up, and it's going to be up of Tulsa. Wichita State with a chance now to tie this game up. We are going to have a timeout first with 15 minutes, 54 seconds to go in this first half. Tulsa with a 25-game winning streak at home.
It's a funny feeling when you're 17, just finished school and times are lean, don't have a job, don't know what to do, never learned a skill, and you want to work too. Well, you know the services have the means to teach someone who's still in his teens. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, they'll take you, train you, show you the way. You'll work hard, get decent pay in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Serving your country's a real good start, helping pay for colleges and services part. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Future in doubt, shed that lead. Join the services and get ahead in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
Some house, but you need a new heating system.
Gas is nice.
We heard wood stoves were efficient. Wood's not cheap.
There's oil. Carry is a fireplace.
How about steam? You gotta have insulation.
I know electric.
Hold it, hold it.
Solar heat.
Hold it. The first step is the Yellow Pages.
The Bell System Yellow Pages. The first step in helping you solve a heating problem. Before you waste time and money, take the first step. Let your fingers do the walking through the Bell System Yellow Pages.
Some storm.
The house is cozy.
Taste the high country.
That's me, Mark, and the guys I work with. It's dangerous work.
Taste the high country.
But we look out for each other.
Taste Coors.
I wouldn't want to work anyplace else.
There's only one high country and only one beer brewed up here, Coors, with pure Rocky Mountain spring water. Fresh taste that satisfies every day.
Yeah, good buddies and good beer.
Taste Coors.
The TU Wichita State game is being brought to you by Channel 8. Through special arrangements with CBS, we chose to serve the public interest by telecasting this game, which otherwise would not have been seen in the area.
Coming up immediately at the conclusion of this game from Madison Square Garden, John McEnroe, Von Lindell. What a match it's going to be. Semifinals of Grand Prix Masters. 6-4, Tulsa with the lead. Sherrod into Levinston.
That's a great trap in the corner, and only terrific physical ability got that ball out.
Up to Vanley. Vanley's the man that started in place of David Brown, has been hurt. Livingston touched it last, and inbounding the ball will be Tulsa. Boy, you really like this guy, Cliff Livingston.
He is one of the best players in the United States. I'm really surprised to see Tulsa trying to lob the ball over that defensive play with great leapers like Livingston and Carr inside.
That'll go off of Wichita State. Oh, wait a minute. Off of Tulsa.
Good job by Antoine Carr, doing a little referee in there. He's really limping, noticeably.
Isn't he, though? He comes down to assume his offensive position, and he is really gimpy. Inside, Livingston. There's Carr again, and he's fouled. Greg Stewart on top of him. Carr, there's been all kinds of talk. I talked to one coach, said he had a tear in his muscle, and I heard a pulled hamstring, a pulled muscle. Not being a doctor, I'm just going to have to go along with what they're telling me.
Antoine wants the shot here.
We have a technical foul against Nolan Richardson of Tulsa.
That's going to be 2 shots. Any foul on the bench this year, 2 shots, and all are charged to the head coach.
3 of them, and you're out of here.
That's right.
And Nolan not liking the way things are going, even though up to this point, Wichita State has committed more personal fouls. They had 4 as opposed to 2 for Tulsa. There's Gene Smithson, Rick Shore, his assistant coach, along with him. And shooting the shot, Antoine Carr.
Good free throw shooter. Normally last year was over 75%. It was 2 shots, and I think what Nolan Richardson was upset about, he thought maybe he was fouled before he got off the shot.
So Carr gives Wichita State their first lead of this game, 7-6.
Aubrey Sherrod going to be the guy picked to go to the line. He's an 80% free throw shooter.
This young man, Billy, a lot of people tell me, as he shoots the technical, he had a 2-shot foul coming from the play, and now the technical being shot by Sherrod. But Sherrod was considered by many to be one of the finest high school shooters ever to come out.
I think he won the McDonald's All-American Game MVP award. Everybody considered him to be a super blue-chip prospect. Now Wichita State get the ball out of bounds. They had an opportunity for a potential 6-point turnaround here.
Well, they could have picked up 2 more. They only had half those free throws. Now that's 8 unanswered points by Wichita State, and they now have an 8-6 lead. Livingston, look at the crap on him. They jump on you in a hurry defensively.
Well, here Wichita State going to a little box-type offense with Martin and Sherrod playing so far out. I'm surprised the zone's going out there to play them.
They like to get Pressey out in front when they go to that 1-3-1, but they have him now right of the paint down there, and he is tough in either position.
2-1-2 zone defense. Vanley being very active in the middle. Trying to spring Livingston alone down on the baseline with him. Let's see if they can get the ball to Cliff.
This reminds me a lot of that Bradley game, Billy, that we watched on tape. Trying to find the seam, trying to find the open spot.
Wichita State know what they want to do. It's like an accordion.
Antoine Carr. Nice. He limps back defensively, hits that shot. He has 3 points. Now 10 unanswered points by the Shockers. Bradley, we mentioned he was out with appendectomy. He started the last 2 games, starting to get his strength back. He played at Western Texas JUCO. He gets his hot hand. He can be tough. And we have a foul. It's going to go against Paul Pressey.
Pressey pushing off. Now Spradling is really off to a shaky start shooting-wise. Threw up an air ball on his first one. This shot wasn't close either. Hit way off the back of the rim. They need him to have a big day against that zone.
Tony Martin.
Pressey on the push-off.
Tony Martin, he's a doer in the estimation of Gene Smithson. He makes some things happen. He's the senior guard outside.
Gary, remember that South Carolina situation. The zone defense now by Tulsa has to come out and play the guys in the midcourt area. If there are 2 men out there, they've got to send out 2. If there's 1, they have to send 1. If there's 3, they have to still send 2.
And we're going to show that at halftime and explain to you what it was all about in case you missed the game or were confused by it. Wichita State taking their time. They've run off 10 unanswered points to take this 10-6 lead.
This is excellent strategy by Wichita State. They have not played well against the zone. They're going to make that zone come out. They'd rather go man-to-man. They're bringing Carr and Livingston up in the middle of it. Here it is right here, a 2-1-2 zone. Wichita State trying to spread it out more and more. Now these 2 men will have to come out and aggressively play that ball.
Sherrod had a shot, it looked like. Greg Stewart chased him back outside.
Tough to go on either side because you've got Stewart, a great leaper with good size on one back line. You've got Pressey with his great quickness on the other side.
Look at this average. They're not going to hit that today.
Now these fellas must aggressively play the ball. It's not good enough to just come out there and stand. Now they're getting a warning right now by the official. They must come out and play.
In fact, Gene Smithson's up and yelling at the official that he thought they should be more aggressive. There he is.
Overtone, over!
Well, they didn't expect this.
Well, we talk about tempo. Now they've got to come out there and play.
Nolan Richardson yelled 5 seconds. He thought the count should have been 5 seconds.
He almost got a warning. Now here he goes again.
A little gamesmanship now going on between these 2 rivals. Last year, Wichita State won the Missouri Valley Conference, but they lost both games to Tulsa.
They're aggressively, they've got to get 2 men out there and aggressively play that ball. Now, Smithson's really on the referee about it. Let's see if Nolan Richardson goes to it. He goes to his trap.
Stradling picks up the foul.
Gary, this does a number of things. 1, it takes the crowd out of the game. That's extremely important. 2, it changes the entire tempo of what Tulsa wants to do. And 3, it possibly takes Tulsa out of the zone defense, make them go man-to-man, which is what Wichita State wants to play.
We have a timeout here at the Tulsa Assembly Center. A low-scoring game. A lot of strategy being mapped. Wichita State on top by 4.
Sat down with Mom, talked to Dad. Can't get it together, makes you feel sad. You know you can do it, you wonder where. You want it soon because you really care. The services can help you so you not only get better, you really grow. Talking Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You'll work hard, they'll make you a man. Responsibility is part of the plan in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Prove you can make it. Prove it to all. Serving your country and walking tall in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You've got it together. They'll see in a glance. Thanks to the services, you got the chance in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
Only one American car company's sales were up in '81. Only Chrysler. Ford and GM were down. Even all the imports combined were down. Chrysler was up because Chrysler has the cars, quality, and prices America wants. And now, Chrysler helps you buy a new car with a check you can keep or apply to your down payment on most new 81s and 82s. Make your best deal. Then get a car, get a check direct from Chrysler. Get $300 to $1,000 from Chrysler. Check it out.
How long is the warranty on this set?
Just look at that picture.
But the warranty.
The colors are so vivid.
The warranty.
And about this cabinet, it is genuine plastic.
I'm Curtis Mathis. We want you to know about our limited warranty. It's the longest in the business. 4 years. Why is ours that good? Simple. Our televisions are that good.
Curtis Mathis, the most expensive television in America, and worth it.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. H the Place, KTOL TV in Tulsa.
The big one right here on CBS, Super Bowl 16 from the Silverdome in Pontiac. The Bengals against the surprising San Francisco 49ers.
And let's see if Tulsa's going to come out and play man-to-man.
Sherrod, that's the kind of shot he liked.
Yes, sir. He kept his hands up all the way in that shot. Perfect jump shooting form.
Wichita had killed 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock before they put that one up.
Wichita State, since they've been man-to-man, have really caused Tulsa problems. There's Sherrod again.
Oh! Sherrod, he's not all that big. He's 6'4", but he got up on that one.
great player and an excellent defensive player also. There he is again.
14 unanswered points, and Tulsa right now is in a little bit of a daze. We have a traveling call. It's against Wichita State. Tulsa will inbounds the ball.
Really thought that should have been a jump ball situation. You can see Nolan Richardson saying, I got to get some other people in there.
Amazing, a home crowd, a team that's been playing very well, and they took the lead early, and bang, they've just been jumped on.
And how about this? Comes in with 2 freshman players. Talk about a tough situation for a young kid.
And one of those is Herb Johnson, number 41, who had the ball, and also Steve Harris, number 20, an outstanding freshman from Blue Springs, Missouri. We'll talk more about him. What a shooter he is. Here's Pressey. He's the guy that runs it all for him. There's Harris. The reach in. Here's Martin.
Good hustle by Livingston.
This is quite a move now of 16 unanswered points.
Richardson's got to start thinking timeout, get his club maybe in a man-to-man start pressing. He's got to shake them up. They've really gone to sleep.
Here's Stanley. Bruce Stanley in trouble. He's been fouled, though. Foul on Jay Jackson.
Here goes Martin down. Now, he could feel Harris behind him. He tried to go ahead, shield the ball a little bit, but here's what was great hustle. An All-American going from one end of the court to the other. Livingston lays it back up.
Not only that, his teammate Jackson was on his heels. Both of those guys covered up.
Nobody from Tulsa within the foul line.
Here's Stanley. And Tulsa breaks a long string. Their last basket was at the 17:22 mark. It's 10:52 now.
And Gary, that's the first points they scored against the man-to-man defense by Wichita State. Now, here we go. Tulsa man-to-man now. They know they've got to start forcing some tempo.
The quickness of Tulsa, they can play that man defense. Here's Harris. Sherrod having trouble with it.
You've got Pressey on Carr. I guess they figure with Carr being a little bit less mobile, Pressey can stay right with him despite the size.
Nice play by Armstrong.
Yes or no?
For a guy that's gimpy and lame, he certainly is playing a pretty good brand of basketball.
I talked to him before the game. He said, Billy, you've got to learn how to play with pace.
He's doing it. Look at this. 4 of 8. Tulsa has had only 8 shots thus far. Here's Pressey. He's the man that's got to turn it around. And that was Sherrod reaching in. We have a held ball, a jump ball, and it's going to go to Wichita State on the alternating held ball.
Gary, that was the same call as before. I thought the other one should have been a jump ball also. If the man goes down on the floor and tries to return to his feet, then he's walking. But as long as he's down there and trying to get rid of that ball, I think it should have been a jump.
Martin, out to Antoine Carr. That was Herb Johnson, the young freshman from Midland, Texas, that tipped it out of bounds. He's 6'10". He thinks he's about 6'5", though. He loves to handle the ball and go outside.
He's going to be a good one. Nolan Richardson has 2 outstanding freshmen on this club.
Boy, Anderson really bellowing up. And they look at the turnovers. 8 against the Golden Hurricane. Carr, long ways.
There's a man shooting 56, 60% over his career. Playing really hurt on that leg, showing a lot of pain, but he's still really gutting it out.
How many times, Bill, do you see a guy come off the bench hurt and play well? There's Livingston with the rebound. He's the leading rebounder in the Missouri Valley Conference, averaging over 10 a game. A powerful performer out of San Diego. Johnson reaches in. It's off of Wichita State.
Johnson is not intimidated at all by Carr's reputation. Really went after him with the ball. I think that Tulsa's going to do a good job now that they're in this man-to-man.
So the Hurricane kind of regrouping a little bit. They trail 20-8 with 9 minutes, 18 seconds left in the first half.
There's a time in life for the young to say, I want something else, a different way. The town's the same, the people too. School is over, needs something to do. The services have it, it'll really show. You'll see new places, you'll really grow in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Challenge, adventure, excitement too, a time to enjoy and see something new. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You'll work hard, feel really free, serving your country for all to see in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Be part of a team, be friends forever. A part of the services you won't forget ever. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
That we can fly, of all the highways through the sky, of all the wings that breathe the sun, Eastern is your number one. We're Eastern, America's favorite way to fly.
For the 3rd year in a row, more passengers have flown Eastern than any other airline in the free world. If you've helped make us America's favorite way to fly, we thank you. If you haven't flown Eastern recently, give us a try. We'll show you we really do earn our wings every day.
pride of Eastern shining through. We earn our way by serving you. We're Eastern, America's favorite way to fly. Come fly with Eastern.
Howdy, this is Don Woods, meteorologist for Channel 8, inviting you to join me on KVOO, Big Country Radio, where they bring you the weather right out of the woods.
Antoine Carr on the bench now. Got some heat on that leg. Boy, he played well while he was there. And at halftime, a tribute to one of the legends in sports writing, Red Smith, who passed away this week. The Pulitzer Prize winner. Also, Masters tennis. There's some real controversy over the format of that tournament and the CBS coaches poll. Stay with us for the halftime.
Oh, Harris picked it up. Now, that's not backcourt. Look at Sherrod again.
And he's been fouled, and that basket will count. Chance for a three-point play, and now Wichita State has outscored Tulsa 16-2 in the last 6 minutes.
Gene Smithson went man-to-man, brought Carr into the ball game, and they have played just out of sight. Now, that last play, fans might have thought it was backcourt. But this year, a player must have both feet and the ball on the other side of half-court before the violation can occur.
This guy really coming on in this game. Sherrod is averaging about 11.5 points a game. And that left-handed shot of his now has produced 8 already.
Now full court pressure by Wichita State. They're taking away all the strategy in this ball game.
That'll be off of Tulsa.
They really have Tulsa back on their heels, Gary.
The momentum. The actual strategy early in this game, as you said, taking the crowd out, too. Jackson. You can see that everything is picked up for Wichita State as Anderson off to Pressey. They're going to have to look to this guy for some direction. Evanson with a rebound. Boy, is he a horse. Off to Martin. Rod back to Martin.
Touch pass.
Anderson and Sherrod tried to hold him up. And chasing it down will be Herb Johnson. Anderson broken up nicely that time. Greg Stewart on the retrieve. And the man who was the most valuable player in the NIT last year gets one.
One of the things that hurts Tulsa, too, they have not been scoring. Therefore, they can't get into their press. They never can be set up. Nice double team.
Nice. They have a hell ball, and it will go to Tulsa. So they will get it on that alternating hell ball.
Boy, Pressey is incredible as a defensive player. He's got the quick hands, and instead of trying to attack the ball, he just keeps moving those hands around so you just don't have a passing lane.
He has a wingspan, the estimation of Coach Richardson, the length of a DC-10, and he plays at 6'5", but he probably about 6'8", 6'9" with those arms.
Good man-to-man by Wichita State. They've been playing tough.
Anderson lean in, Stewart now with 2 back-to-back baskets for the Hurricane.
Stewart set a nice screen to go ahead and get himself a roll off there.
Stewart with 6 points. He's been very consistent this year for Tulsa.
Here's a half-court zone trap by Tulsa. They're showing a little bit of everything.
Young freshman Xavier McDaniel out of Columbia, South Carolina. He played very well. He's in the ball game for the Shockers. There he is, 6'7".
And remember Tyrone Corbin? Can you imagine he and McDaniel on the same high school team?
AC Flora High School out of Columbia. Stewart now is picking up this Hurricane attack. 8 points, 6 of them in a row. Wichita State asks for timeout. So Tulsa trying to climb back into this one after being shell-shocked in the early going. 7:19 to go, first half. The Shockers still with a 25-14 lead.
Well, moms and dads the world around give their kids the same old sound. Got to go to school, be a big success. They wouldn't settle for anything less. Now they've learned whatever you seek, you'll help yourself to reach your peak in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Need a trade? Looking for a skill? They have hundreds to fit the bill in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Want more school? Don't have the bread. They'll help pay to get you ahead. Talking Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Mom and dad, they'll want to shout. He's made it big. There's no doubt. Thanks, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
The name of one of America's major life insurance companies may surprise you. It's State Farm. We're probably better known for homeowners and car insurance, but more and more families are discovering we're good for life, too. We deal with customers on all kinds of family insurance, so we get to know their needs. Because we're family insurance agents, we can do a better job on your life insurance.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's life insurance the State Farm way.
The high country.
That's me, Mark, and the guys I work with. It's dangerous work.
Chase the high country.
But we look out for each other.
Taste Coors.
I wouldn't want to work anyplace else.
There's only one high country and only one beer brewed up here, Coors, with pure Rocky Mountain spring water. Fresh taste that satisfies every day.
Yeah, good buddies and good beer.
Taste Coors.
Each week, we pick the Honeywell Player of the Game, and last week...
The Place, KTOL TV in Tulsa.
Jimmy Foster, the 6'8 sophomore, with 25 points and 12 rebounds in that overtime loss. And today, we'll be choosing the Honeywell Player of the Game again, and $1,000 will go to the General Scholarship Fund of that school. Billy and I will vote on it, and if we have a tie, Rick Sharp will break the tie, and we'll announce the winner at the end of the game.
There is the full court zone pressure by Tulsa, of course, being able to set up when Wichita State called the timeout.
The Shockers trying to regroup a little after this run by Tulsa. Herb Johnson with a rebound.
Not a good shot by Livingston, particularly after you call a timeout to try to set up.
Bradley in trouble, got it off to Pressey somehow. Nice move by Pressey. He's been fouled. Xavier McDaniel has committed the foul, and you can see now Tulsa starting to regroup.
Well, I think that was a wise timeout by Gene Smithson the last time. Look at Pressey with that half hook. Look at his concentration, stayed right with his shot. An outstanding player.
I asked Milton Richardson if he thought he could be an outstanding pro player. He says, no doubt. He's so unselfish. His statistics are not that impressive. He averages just over 10 points a game, but he could average a lot more. He had 31 points in the game earlier this year.
See him up there from Richmond, Virginia. Of course, he came out of Richmond and went to junior college because in his senior year of high school, he would have been too old to play. So that's how he got from Richmond down to Texas.
Now, this is where he's tough. Inbound
better believe it. Now, when they score, it makes it tough for Wichita State because obviously Tulsa has time to set up the press. Look.
Boy, Martin handled the ball so well on that play. Livingston took over from there. He's averaging 14 points a game. He has 6 this afternoon. Pressey into Stewart. Stewart has 6 straight. There they go again, the turnovers. That's already 11 against Tulsa. That'll be off of the Hurricane.
Saw Pressey come back and get his hands on that ball. That's great hands by Martin, picking that ball up off the floor. He and Sherrod are extremely quick in the backcourt.
Jay Jackson, the senior from Valley Falls, Kansas, into Livingston, brings it out to Martin. Tony Martin, he's from New Jersey, then went to Casper, Wyoming Junior College. He leads his team in assists and steals.
There you can see that when Tulsa goes back in the zone, which they had to do on the out-of-bounds situation, Wichita State pulls it right back out. Now it forces Tulsa to pick up a man, and they'll go back to their man-to-man.
Anderson is very tough defensively. He's like a blanket on people, but Martin goes in anyway. Pressey up, can't get it. Now he does. To Anderson, overthrow. Boy, what an effort by Pressey. He kept jumping. His arm just kept going up, and he had it.
Well, with this kind of score, down 11 points, that's not a wise pass to make. Every possession needs to be very well controlled. There's another pass. You got to click.
Got away with that one. That was a heck of a play by Anderson, who saved it to Spradlin.
But it took an absolute perfect pass and catch for that to work. Possession is much more important here than making a spectacular play.
Bradley with his first 2 points. Tulsa now trailing 27-18. Here goes Anderson again. Oh, and he is fouled. Sherrod committing the foul. You could see that one coming. Anderson's only 6 foot. Sherrod is 6'4". He took him on, and he comes away with a foul.
And Pressey's the guy that made that work because he forced the lob pass cross court in the back court. And there is Sherrod going right up with Anderson. Anderson, a tough kid. 2 things you don't want to do back in that midcourt area. You don't want to bounce pass cross court, and you don't want to lob cross court.
Anderson, young man who played against Nolan Richardson's team in the JUCO finals. He's from Jefferson State, which is out of the area. And this young man was the most valuable player in the Oil Capital Classic this year. Their floor leader, doing a good job at the free throw line, too.
Excellent. 4 points. Tulsa's a 70% free throw shooting team. Now, being a good free throw shooting team helps them, too, because that allows them, obviously, to go right into this press. It's a 1-2-1-1 full court zone press. Cressy playing the point, the man taking the ball out of bounds, and that is double touch.
That's Mike Jones, who just checked in. 33 will inbounds the ball. Also, Antoine Carr is checked back in. Getting some heat on that Hayden leg. And this is Carr, not Livingston.
Remember who started it? Livingston. Well, he really hustles down that court. It's great speed.
8 points now for the 6'8" junior.
And back to the zone goes Wichita State.
Leading Georgia Tech as expected in their game. Martin with a nice save, and halftime we'll have the CBS coaches poll showing us your top 10 as the 20 coaches have voted on it. And here's Sherrod again.
Antoine Carr showing an awful lot of guts out there. He had to catch that ball on the run and give it up. Back in a 1-2-2 zone.
Stewart, a lot of traffic. That ball is going to go, and he's got a chance for a three-point play. And Stewart has been the man that's kept him in this. He has 10 points.
Livingston asking to come out and take a little bit of a rest. He's really tired. We'll probably see Xavier McDaniel come in and take his place. That's what's going to happen.
Steve Harris and also Bruce Family check in for Tulsa as they make a pair of changes. You mentioned Livingston. He does come out as McDaniel comes in.
Now we've got Harris going in there for Anderson, Gary. So both clubs not afraid to go to that bench and extremely deep. If you look at the playing time on the part of the Tulsa players, about 30 minutes is all any one guy gets.
Here's the guy that's having quite a game. 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 of 2 from the line. 3-point play.
MVP in the NIT last year, and biggest turnaround of all time, I guess, when Tulsa goes from a record of 8-19 to the NIT championship.
26-7 record, and that's something. Here's Jones. Xavier McDaniel. Carr trying to tip over the back, and he's committed a foul. That time, good boxing off underneath by Tulsa.
Excellent block out. Xavier McDaniel tried that little half hook. See how long they keep Livingston out. He just came out for a little rest.
First foul on Carr. Now, Livingston really gave him the lift. You mentioned that. He has been playing with great emotion, and here is Pressey at the line. There's Livingston. Pressey's mother now has moved to the Tulsa area, as Paul has a brother here, and she had a heart attack last year, but she seems to be very healthy and comes to all the games.
Had almost 100 steals last year on the year.
He was the guy last year who kept Wichita State from bringing the ball past the midcourt line for 3 minutes for defensive play.
Should have been a violation in the lane. The fellow stepped in before the ball was released.
31-24, the Shockers. Tulsa fighting their way back, clawing their way back in. Sherrod, who's had the hot hand.
Oh, you can count on it, Gary. That fellow right now, if he will look at the tape of this game and the tape of his game against Bradley, he'll realize that he only made one mistake against Bradley. He didn't use his normal follow-through.
There's a guy that can shoot, too. Harris a little indecisive on that shot. Sherrod. Jones. Sherrod again, and he's fouled. Spradling commits the personal foul.
And Harris showing his inexperience. Took the long jumper down on the other end and stood and watched it. In the meantime, the guards ran right by him for the easy break.
There's Pressey. Going to give that foul to Pressey, I guess. It'll be his second personal foul. We thought it was Spradling. Oh, it is Spradling. It is his second. Here's Sherrod at the line. He was considered by his high school coach to be the best all-around player to come out of Wichita Heights. You say, what's so great about that? Well, Darnell Valentine came from there, and also Antoine Carr. That's pretty good credentials for this guy. There's the distraction in the background. He is now 3 of 5 from the line.
You see, Wichita State not trying to worry about the press on a full-court basis, but picking up in a half-court zone trap. Great play.
Mike Jones.
Wichita State is really well prepared for this game. They've shown man-to-man, half-court zone, full-court press, and now they're going for the half-court press.
You wondered how the probation would affect him. Well, I think that has been answered here today. Pressey. They got to have those shots. Family can't hang on. The Shockers will have it.
Let's see. Right now we got Tulsa picking up full court. They're in a man-to-man situation. Martin goes right by. No problem.
You know, there's some talk that they really miss Randy Smithson, the point guard, and Martin filling that role. Jones not able to get it.
Because Jones remembered for making the big shot to beat Kansas last year, but he is not a good shooter normally percentage-wise.
Pressey, big power move. points for Paul Pressey. He's got those long arms. That's almost impossible to stop the way he moved in. Spradling trying to draw the foul. Martin still has the ball. Rod brings it out. Here is Jones, the man you mentioned.
I'm wondering when Livingston's going to get back in that ball game, Gary. He's been sitting for about 3 minutes.
Martin wheeling in against Harris. Now Dort with the rejection. Spradling. Spradling with 4. He's good at that. Getting back door, coming out, and really suspending himself in the air. He gets the streak shooting going. He can really fill it up.
Reiling came out of the ball game early. Now he's a starter, big frontline guy out of there, and so is Livingston. So this is an unusual lineup that Wichita State has in the ball game.
They've really given away a lot of size. Here's Carr moving in against Pressey to lean in. Stewart is there with the rebound. Stewart doing yeoman work for this Tulsa team.
Wichita State may have to go for another timeout, Gary, because the game's kind of getting away from them right now.
Vanley is fouled. That's the second foul now against Antoine Carr.
Bradley doing a good job out there, getting the ball on the inside. Pretty good block by Carr. Might have hit him with the body beforehand.
Yeah, that replay, you couldn't see it.
He got him beforehand. If he got him beforehand, it shouldn't be a 2-shot foul because he sure was on the ball there.
Carr wondering about that himself. A change coming in. This guy coming in now for Tulsa, Steve Ballard, number 40, is brutally strong. Now they're going to get some real beef in there as they give Pressey a rest. Ballard is 6'8", strongest man on the team. Now Jay Jackson and Livingston come back in. McDaniel and Mike Jones will leave. The clip with the breather, and at the 2:14 mark of this first half, back in. Here's Vanley. He's the man who's replaced David Brown, and year had 14 points against Wichita State. His best performance as a freshman. They really like this kid. He has really come on.
Doesn't have the great hands, but he is a battler inside and extremely aggressive on the offensive end.
And that has cut it to 6. They're kind of sneaking back into this one.
He only has 2 assists and 28 turnovers on the year. That ought to speak for itself. Wichita State going to sit on that baby for a while. Surprised Tulsa's not going out after him, but they've made this comeback with their tempo defensively.
The crowd now starting to come alive here as they've seen this Tulsa club, after really getting shell-shocked early, fight back in. They're down by 6. Coming out a little more aggressively this time. Here's Harris coming out. Tulsa in the last 4 minutes has outscored Wichita State 14-6 to make that comeback.
Might not be a bad idea to try to hold it for 1. Jackson loses it.
Harris to Anderson. Tough shot by Anderson.
Moxie little player, isn't he?
He really is. He loves to shoot. He has 6 points. We have something on the floor. They're going to do a little housekeeping here. With 1:21, it's a 4-point ball game.
You know what's amazing about this? We'll see Jackson going down, losing the ball as it slips out of his hands. Anderson's going to go ahead and show you an excellent move here as he goes right under the defense and puts up the jumper off the board. Gary, what's interesting to me is both teams have created their comeback situations with tough man-to-man defense. Then after they get the tempo going, they go back into the zone. Very surprising.
They're still in the zone this time, but Wichita State is not going to sit on it. At least they weren't. Martin backs out now. You see the time left. Also with 8 straight points. Earlier, Wichita had 16 unanswered points. It's been a streaky game thus far.
Jackson taking a big chance trying to take that ball across court through the zone with a dribble.
Sherrod off to Carr. Martin had a shot.
Down to 35 seconds.
Well, that's a tough pass against the zone, isn't it?
Well, they might as well now hold it to the last one. Get it down to 25 seconds.
Wichita State with a 4-point lead. Don't forget at halftime, our coaches poll, Brent and Pat Summer all talking about the controversy of the Grand Prix Masters format. Here's Carr.
Oh, that should count. That should count.
That's right, interference. And it's back to a 6-point lead for the Shockers.
Big break for Wichita State because I think that ball might have come out.
You saw Big Ballard up there, number 40. He was one of those around the ball.
Harris has got to get it down there quickly.
Off to Anderson. Anderson with a hot hand. And it is no good. It would have counted had it gone through. A very, very interesting first half. A streaky game. And at the halfway point, a 6-point lead. 38-32. CBS Sports Saturday will continue after this word from your local station.
Everybody's talking about weatherizing the house. Sutherland's doing something about it. Here's everything you need all in one wad. Garage seal, draft seal, weather strip, doors and windows, caulking guns, caulking, duct tape. Oh, Sutherland.
Sutherland, your family's building friend.
Tulsa, Broken Arrow, Springdale, and Fort Smith. Sutherland.
Oh, Rainbow Bread, the staff of life, because we bake nutrition important to a well-balanced diet into every slice. Vitamins, minerals, protein. So go ahead, spread it on Rainbow, and spread out your budget with nutrition that's one healthy bargain. Fresh, good-tasting Rainbow Bread. It's the economical way to start a nutritious day. Rainbow Bread. It isn't called the staff of life for nothing.
It's The Place, KTUL-TV, Tulsa.
Anyone who ever turned a phrase about the world of sport had to envy Red Smith. While most of us struggle with paragraphs, Red reduced to just words, that which never failed to capture the imagery of the special moment. That rare talent died with Red Smith yesterday. At the age of 76, Red's recent columns in the New York Times were as enjoyable to read as his original ones in the Old Herald Tribune. And last year, Morley Safer profiled Red.
No, I have thoroughly enjoyed myself, Morley, covering the games. I've enjoyed the games, and I think as long as I don't take the games or myself too seriously, I maybe make... Hell, I set out to make a living, not to make a contribution. But maybe, like anybody else who writes for the papers, I make some small contribution to what? The gaiety of the nations?
Red Smith is survived by millions of us who will miss his rare use of our language. No one who wrote about our passion for games and its heroes did it with the grace and style under deadline pressure of a Red Smith. And CBS Sports Saturday continues in just a moment.
You know who that is, don't you? It's him, Old Man Winter with all those high fuel bills. But don't panic. You can beat Old Man Winter now. Just pick up more Owens Corning fiberglass insulation today. Uh-oh. Get your pink Owens Corning and beat Old Man Winter now. Camaro.
Shadow
Sport Coupe Camaro.
Shadow.
Hot new hatchback, ultra sleek.
Shadow.
Camaro Veronetta inner space.
Shadow.
Slick, sweet, feel the beat.
Shadow.
Z28 on the streets. Feel the heat. Camaro.
Chevy Camaro, so new, it'll have the competition chasing.
Shadows.
Big game tonight, huh?
You gonna be there?
I'll be there.
Frank, I need this analysis before you leave.
When you've got an important deadline, you need a Honeywell office automation system. Using a desktop terminal, executives can organize data, analyze statistics, and get their work done. At Honeywell, we know how important it can be to meet a deadline. Honeywell, you should see what we do with computers.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is time to
special.
So long, fellas.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
I'm hot, cold, thirsty. Call me a cab.
10 minutes, I'll have you back at the lodge.
I can't make it.
10 minutes, I'll have you back at the lodge drinking a Lowenbrow.
I can make it.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Where would I be without you guys?
Probably still out there in the snow somewhere.
Immediately after the basketball action, we'll bring you live tennis coverage of the Grand Prix Masters semifinal between John McEnroe and Yvonne Lindell. It's a tournament that has been clouded by controversy. And to set the stage, here's Pat Summerall.
We started off with 8 players. Now we're down to the semifinals in 4. Today's matches will have Elliot Telcher against Vitas Gerulaitis in 1, and John McEnroe against top-seeded Yvonne Lindell in the other. Ever since this tournament started, and they started this round-robin format, controversy has surrounded this championship. This year's no exception. There were those who said that perhaps John McEnroe didn't try his best when he lost to Elliot Telcher yesterday. Last year, in fact, Yvonne Lindell even admitted that he went into the tank, lost the match on purpose so he could choose his semifinal opponent. Whatever, we have McEnroe and Lindell in the feature match today. Anytime you have McEnroe, you have not only his opponent, you have his running controversy and arguments with the linespeople and with the man in the chair. Here's just an example.
What's your problem, mister? You got a big problem with umpire matches. You got a serious problem existing in society. You ready to play? You got a big problem existing in this world. Play, please, Mr. McEnroe.
Now back to Brent Musburger.
All right, Pat, thank you. Unfortunately for the sport of tennis, we can't seem to have a tournament anymore without a major controversy. Now, gaining a favorable draw in any tournament by losing a match runs counter to every concept of any sport we've ever known. McEnroe denies losing deliberately the other day to Elliot Telcher, but he admits that he did not prepare for that match because of what he believed to be an already favorable draw. It doesn't matter. Professional athletes are paid to try to win. That's their job, period. Now, this format should not escape criticism because any draw that encourages losing should have been abandoned after last year's admission by Yvonne Lindell that he deliberately lost a match. Offering bonus money, which the promoter tried this year, does nothing but increase the tax liabilities of today's millionaire stars. Now, the answer to me is simple. If you win, you advance. If you lose, you go home. And it's time to bring some integrity back because tennis does not deserve this abuse. And CBS Sports Saturday continues in just a moment.
Canon presents a new camera.
John, I'm working. Can I have my camera back?
Just one more. It's Canon's new AE1 program. Even simpler to use.
This new Canon AE1 program's super. Just one more.
No matter how tough the light, the new program mode makes it easy to shoot like a pro.
Here, get to work.
The new AE1 program.
Keep drawing the ball.
So advanced, it's simple. And more of both.
At Volkswagen, we pull rabbits off our American assembly line at random and give them this little test. We test every weld to make absolutely sure the metal breaks before the weld does. There's no law in any book that says we have to do this, but we let some rabbits die so that yours will live longer.
New York, I think we have that information coming in.
These busy executives in 3 different cities are all at the same conference, a teleconference. They solve their problems without leaving the office through the Bell network, the world's most advanced information management system. That reduces travel, cuts costs, gets more done. You are also part of the network. Use it. Put our knowledge to work for you. The Information Management Network from Bell.
Saturday night at 11:30, James Mason stars as Rommel in The Desert Fox.
The situation requires that the El Alamein position be held to the last man. It must be victory or death, signed Adolf Hitler.
And what exactly are you after? You want to get rid of Hitler at this game. Got to go away now. I won't be back.
Hates the Place for The Desert Fox, Saturday night at 11:30.
CBS Sports Coaches Poll is sponsored by Atari Home Video Games.
Each week on our NCAA basketball coverage, we bring you the CBS Coaches Poll. 20 coaches in association, the National Association of Basketball Coaches vote. And once again, Billy Packer, North Carolina is on top of our poll.
Well, I think that's the consensus of everybody in the country. Our guys have over 4,500 wins between them, so I guess they know what they're talking about. Nobody disagrees.
Missouri is second, but I'll tell you, North Carolina had a big win Wednesday night in Raleigh against North Carolina State.
I was there. Their club is so mature, so intelligent, smart, and of course they've got great athletes like Sam Perkins right there.
North Carolina plays at Duke tonight. Now, Missouri is second. They're one of the 4 unbeaten teams. They play at Nebraska tonight, and then Louisville in St. Louis on Sunday.
Well, we'll find out how good they are there, because Louisville's a very difficult club to handle.
Virginia third. DePaul will have next week on CBS against the University of Alabama, Birmingham. Georgetown now is in the top 5.
And remember, those 2 losses came right out of the box, so they have really been on a tear lately.
Look at Idaho. They defeated Idaho State last night, 73-62, 14-0.
Nobody's staying close to them, and they've really had good games, even against the Pac-10 clubs.
Now, Arkansas is ranked 9th. Kentucky is now in the number 10 position. Now, Arkansas has a big game coming up tonight against Texas, and we want to show you Texas. Texas has really been a surprise this year. They're one of the 4 unbeaten teams in the country.
Well, Abe Lemons always makes fun of himself and his club, but this Texas team can really play, and they've got a guy by the name of LaSalle Thompson, one of the outstanding players in the nation. Abe Lemons has an outstanding club down there, Gary.
That was a big win against University of Houston, and what a race they're going to have in that Southwest Conference before it is all over. And so that's a look at this week's CBS Coaches Poll.
Dear Atari Anonymous, ever since my husband Luno returned from Earth with Asteroids, the new Atari home video game, he and the rest of the family do nothing but play Asteroids. Luno says Asteroids is good practice for his interplanetary flight.
Bitty bitty, bitty bitty.
Tell me, dear Atari Anonymous, with everybody hooked on Asteroids, what on earth is a poor Martian mother to do?
The new Asteroids home video game, only from Atari.
Last week we had a very heated, a very controversial game in Columbia, South Carolina, between South Carolina and San Francisco. 2 controversial plays, Billy. I want you to tell us what happened for people who didn't see it and ones that didn't know what happened.
Well, I think a lot of times controversy is created because the fans don't really know the rules. Here is the situation. This year, we've got a rule called lack of action, which has changed from the past. Both players from South Carolina had to be responsible to come out and aggressively and continuously try to play the ball. They did not do this here. The official properly warned South Carolina. South Carolina was back in that zone. You'll see him come into the picture and call a technical foul. It was a very proper call on the part of the official.
And then it led to a very interesting inbounds play.
Well, with 1 second to go, a smart move here by San Francisco. They threw the ball off the back of Hawthorne, South Carolina player. As soon as the ball touches a player inbounds, the clock starts, and therefore the game ended on this particular play. I ought to point out, however, if the ball had hit Hawthorne, come back and touched the San Francisco player while he was standing out of bounds, it might have been South Carolina's ball. So a dangerous play if you don't know the rules.
Well, we had some tempers that flared at the end of the game, an unfortunate incident, but boy, what an emotional game it was anyway.
Well, it was an emotional game, very well played by South Carolina, and San Francisco still reeling a little bit. They did not play well that day considering their talent and haven't played well since.
Well, in fact, they lost last night to Pepperdine in that WCAC conference race,
which was expected to be a tough game for them.
Okay, we're going to be back with the start of the second half of play. CBS Sports Saturday will continue after this word from your local station.
State Game is being brought to you by Channel 8. Through special arrangements with CBS, we chose to serve the public interest by telecasting this game, which otherwise would not have been seen in the area.
The future is waiting for you at AI Honda. George Blue predicts an 82 Honda Civic. Jim Arrington predicts an 82 Wagon. Greg Boyd predicts an 82 Accord. Tracy Olnoski predicts an 82 Prelude. Sales manager Lloyd Matthews predicts immediate delivery on new and used inventory. And Joe Marina, Mr. AI Honda, guarantees customer satisfaction from sales to service. AI Honda, leading the way into the future for over a decade.
A settling, cracking foundation can mean big trouble for your home. You don't need a big crew working for weeks. You need Permajack, the fast, economical, and permanent way to stop the settling before the damage gets worse. Slow, costly concrete reinforcement can continue to sink, but Permajack is the unique patented system that supports your home on steel piers driven all the way to bedrock. So when your home needs a helping hand, Permajack, solid as rock. For more information, call the Permajack dealer in the Yellow Pages.
It's The Place, KTUL-TV, Tulsa.
Today's game is sponsored by U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. And by Smooth and Mellow Michelob.
Welcome back to the Tulsa Assembly Center. Gary Bender along with Billy Packard, 38-32. Let's look at this first half of play. One thing that really jumps out at you is the free throw shooting by Tulsa.
Well, 11 for 12 can't be much better than that. Of course, the key thing here is in field goals. Wichita State has taken 10 more shots at the basket. They were extremely aggressive in the middle part of that first half.
We mentioned, Billy, in the first half it was a game of streaks. It started out, Tulsa had a 6-0 streak. Then Wichita State had 16 unanswered points. And then late in the half, Tulsa came back 12-5.
And I'm really surprised in that first half because the change of defenses, Gary, what created the streaks? When Wichita State went man-to-man and got out of their zone, they really picked up. But then Tulsa came back by going man-to-man themselves. I'm anxious to see the second half, whether the coaches are going to go to the zone or go back with those aggressive man-to-man defenses they played.
Well, with the rule of the alternating held ball, Wichita State will inbounds it.
Some fun with this last night on the radio show, Gary. The rotation starts from the beginning of the game and goes right on through unless there's an overtime.
Meaning that Tulsa won the opening tap, and so Wichita State now with it. Here comes Jay Jackson. Greg Stewart had 11 points in that first half and 4 rebounds. Here is Martin.
Oh, nice play by Cliff Levingston.
And he's been fouled, hits the deck.
Went right around Pressey that time. I think Pressey expected him to go up for the jump shot. Watch this move. Nice pump fake. Makes his turnaround. Did not use the arm to hook, so he got by Pressey. No question about the foul inside.
Vanley committing the personal foul. Antoine Carr is starting the second half. He did not start the game, but surprisingly came in and certainly contributed in the game, to say the least. He contributed 9 points and 2 rebounds. And here is Livingston. Livingston, 8 points in the first half and 5 rebounds. 32.
Only a 63% free throw shooter, about the only weakness in his game.
I tell you, he can make up for that in some other ways.
He really does. Rebounds, plays D. He's on Pressey. Let's see what it is. Little half-court zone trap starting off for Wichita State.
Boy, Stewart really came through when they needed him. He gave him that little spurt that got him back into the game.
Half-court trap drops back into a 1-2-2 zone.
Pressey outside now. They had him inside a lot in that first half. Now he evidently is going to play a little. Now he's going to the baseline. Stewart, you can see the man drop off on him. Has to bring it out to Spradlin.
He doesn't have great quickness, but he has a lot of court awareness when he gets that ball.
Vanley somehow comes out of there with the ball. Look what I've got. 6 points for him.
Vanley doesn't mind putting that ball up. Now we get the half-court shot by Tulsa.
Livingston to Jackson. Power move. Livingston there with a rebound. What a job. He just powered it in. He has 11 points. 41-34. His presence along with Carr. Many people feel are the best two forwards of any one team in the nation. And Livingston comes up with a foul. Last year, Billy, between Carr and Livingston, they averaged 34 points and 18 rebounds. That's a lot.
There's Antoine Carr going out. The leg might have stiffened up on him. That halftime can hurt you. You know, you get the thing loose. You have to go in for 15 minutes, and you can't get it loosened back up again.
Greg Dreiling, who played only 3 minutes in the first half, is back in. The big 7'1" freshman. Anderson, tough shot.
Look for Wichita State to go back man-to-man because that zone's just not getting it done. It's not very aggressive.
8 points now for Mike Anderson. Anderson earlier this year had 22 points. Look it up. It's going to be off of Tulsa. Good play again by this little guy out of Birmingham.
Gary, what I think's happening is that when you beat the Tulsa man-to-man, you've got to realize they're coming behind you.
Pressey, that'll count, and he's fouled.
These fellas are so quick. They will let, if you beat them, they're going to come behind and slap that ball. Therefore, when you beat your man, you've got to get the ball ahead to the man that's free. Here we'll see it.
Nice little finger roll. 41-38. Wichita State has called timeout. They're going to regroup. We've just started this second half of play.
You're going strong, and you're living hard. And your boots say act clean. Your boots say act clean. Your boots say act clean. Your boots say Acme, the real West.
Michelob brings you the 7-day weekend. Good eating style. Special of the week for gourmet's delight. Here's how to add a little weekend flavor to any dish. Serve with generous portions of Michelob. Because that smooth and mellow taste helps make any time feel a little like a weekend.
Put a little weekend in your week.
At Ford Motor Company, quality is job one.
It's important for the designer to think of quality right down to the last detail of the car. We feel that if the moldings and the details aren't designed properly, that the car can't be put together properly. Quality is an integral part of the basic design philosophy here in Ford.
Say what we've done, and Ford quality is job one.
The Wichita State game is being brought to you by Channel 8. Through special arrangements with CBS, we chose to serve the public interest by telecasting this game, which otherwise would not have been seen in the area.
The NBA tomorrow, the New Jersey Nets of Philadelphia 76ers. Billy, what about that Buck Williams, a rookie for the Nets? 15-point average, almost 13 rebounds a game.
Are you trying to make yourself cry? He always was one of the finest rebounders at the collegiate level during his career there, and he has that knack and ability like Paul Silas to be at the right place at the right time.
Look at this, a 2-point game. Tulsa.
Pressey again leading that press all over the floor.
Sherrod now, after having that spurt in the first half, hasn't had the shots as we start the second half.
I think Wichita State be wise to not have him handle the ball. Let him be on the receiving end so he can take the jumper right there.
Ooh.
That's just what I was talking about, Gary. Let him go ahead and fade to a corner so he doesn't have to handle the ball, then getting the ball either through Martin or, in that particular case, Jackson feeding him.
He has 15 points. 6 of 8, Billy, from the field to show you how effective Sherrod has been. Again, the zone by Wichita State. Stewart and Vanley inside. Open is Anderson, and quickly look how Livingston jumped out there. Pressey now starting to handle the ball outside a little more. He was a guard last year. They moved him to the forward spot when they lost one of their starters. 4 starters back from last year. Anderson open. Good rebound, Stewart. And a basket will not count. He is fouled. Jay Jackson committed the foul. No basket, but Stewart did an excellent job on the offensive boards.
Really a fine block out by Stewart. He occupied the whole side of the lane, got the block out, got fouled right there before he went and put the ball up by Jackson. Excellent call by the official.
That's 3 fouls now on Jay Jackson in the early going. We have 17 minutes to go in this game. Jackson jumping out at 6'7". It's very good quickness. You can see he's chasing around in that zone. Pressey. They say he can shoot the ball, and I believe it. He doesn't score that much. 12 points for him. It's a 2-point game again, and it's broken up. Tulsa with a chance to tie it.
Coming from behind again. You've got to hit ahead.
And Pressey has tied it up. A chance for a 3-point play as he's fouled.
Gary, it's amazing to me as often as these kids have played against each other that the Wichita State players don't realize that Pressey will come from behind. You've got to hit ahead once you beat him. Good playing by Tulsa right here. And who is on the other end? Pressey.
That's Dreiling's third foul. So both he and Jackson in foul difficulty, but it's been Pressey now with back-to-back baskets that tied it up and a chance now to give Tulsa the lead.
And, of course, Tulsa can go to that press when they keep scoring on the offensive end of the floor.
Look at Vanley. And Vanley follows and commits the foul.
During that stretch where Tulsa was not playing well in the first half, they were not playing well because they weren't scoring on the offensive end of the court, therefore they could not get into their press. Plus, Wichita State was man-to-man. They have not gone back to the man-to-man yet.
This is the other game, that score you just saw being carried on CBS. Marquette leading Creighton. Marquette earlier this year in the game went into overtime against Wake Forest on CBS. We'll have them later this year against Louisville. 43 all is our score. 16-21, Pressey again, he's amazing.
Once again, Gary, you've got a situation where Sherrod is doing the ball handling, and as Nolan Richardson said, as the game wears on, Pressey's arms get longer.
The last lead that they had was 6-4, now leading 45-43. Sherrod again, he's now 7 of 9 from the field, 17 points. It's Sherrod against Pressey right now.
It really is, and there we have. There's Virginia, Georgia Tech, a lot closer than would be anticipated.
Tech has played some people tough this year. Pressey again. Livingston, and here's Stewart. And he's fouled, and Stewart again. You can't say enough for the effort that he has put forth in this game.
Vanley and Stewart doing an excellent block-out job against the zone. Of course, it's always tougher in the zone to get in good rebounding position. And so far, both Vanley and Stewart have just been monopolizing the ball inside.
Billy, foul difficulty. That's 3 on Livingston, 3 on Jackson, 3 on Dreiling.
And one of the things that's tough, you like to use the zone to stay out of foul trouble. So Wichita State, if they get in any further foul trouble, may have another reason why they can't go back to the man-to-man that treated them so well in the first half.
Here's the young man from the bench. He now is 4 of 4 from the free throw line. He's been a clutch scorer for him. The most valuable player in the IT. Who in the world is that? As Stewart continues to pour him in, 5 of 5 from the line. He has 13 points.
And they have the 2-point lead.
47-45. This game had the earmarks of really three. Oh, Wichita State early. Livingston has committed his 4th foul. That's 4 on him. Jackson, who has 3, will come in to replace him, and that was a very, very unwise foul.
Well, I think Livingston was surprised the ball was moving out rapidly, picked off again.
That's already, Billy, 16 fouls against Wichita State, and we haven't even played 5 minutes yet.
And not only the 16, but who they've been on have been critical for Wichita State.
You remember Tulsa in that first half hit 10 of 11 from the line. Davidson, boy, Notre Dame is struggling, aren't they? Tulsa was 10 of 11 from the line. Stewart's hit a couple in the second half. They have capitalized on the foul situation. Pressey into Stewart, tough shot. Xavier McDaniel is up in his face. It's off of the Shockers.
Vanley doing a nice job on the offensive boards. Even those that he hasn't been able to get in his possession, he's been keeping the ball alive.
Pressey inbounds to Spradlin. Good block off by Carr. Tony Martin. Jay Jackson, who came in. Livingston picked up his 4th foul. Xavier McDaniel.
It's amazing how freshmen come on the scene and don't hesitate at all to put the ball up.
Xavier McDaniel, who averaged 23 points a game in high school. There's the turnovers. Wichita State having difficulty in the early going. It was Tulsa that was turning the ball over.
Pressey is really fundamentally sound with that ball handling. 2-handed passes. Doesn't take the bad shot.
Look at that pass.
Stewart. You've got to remember, too, Pressey and the rest of these guys have been playing together day in, day out for a long time.
That was Pressey with the pass. Anderson in double figures with 10 points. 51-47, and Wichita State now is really shaken. Oh, Pressey again. Look at those long arms, Billy.
He tried to, I said he's fundamentally sound, and he tried to throw the ball.
And he's hurt.
His legs. A bad play on his part.
And he's hurt. Pressing went down after that wild play. I did not see where he hit, but he's in real pain. Let's look at it. Bob Fishman, our director, has a report.
Watch this. He'll try to put the ball between his legs. A bad pass on his part right there. Let's see what happens. He twisted his ankle down there. We'll see.
And that comes in the middle of a remarkable performance by this young man, the 6'5" senior from Richmond who's done it all. That last play shows how long his arms are. He just kept going up. Look at that. 16 points. And the steals, the assists that he's had. He is 4 of 5 this half from the field.
He might have been kneed in the thigh as he went around the defender, but he really did not make a smart play by trying to throw that ball through his legs. Gary just got finished saying what a fundamentally sound player he is.
Let's go to the previous steal by this young guy.
Okay. How many did which previous one? The 23rd or the 24th? Here he goes. He has him shaken up all over the place. Here he goes. Now watch this pass. He knew in his own mind where the man was. He could see a replay in his head. Just a great play.
You think that comes from 2 years together? Well, he didn't play with Anderson, though, in junior college.
No, he didn't play with Anderson, but he's played with 3 other fellas on this squad, so they've been around a long time. See if he's got to come out.
Herb Johnson's going to replace him. Tulsa's latest streak, as we continue to have that type of game, is 12-4 in the last 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Mike Swanson, our statistician, pointed out how this game has just kind of gone from one side to the other.
Now, Gary, he has to come out. They're going to take him to the training room. I don't know why. It looks like he's running fine down there. If they hadn't taken him out, obviously they have to use a timeout.
Right now, they were in a real roll. Now, it'll be interesting to see what they can do without their spiritual leader out there in Presley.
Wichita State goes man-to-man. Something that they might have waited too long to do.
That's Dreiling. That's his 4th.
For no reason at all, Dreiling using an elbow.
Dreiling has not really been effective here today. He's been in foul trouble all the way. Already, they're in the bonus. That was the 7th team foul. Gets me about Dreiling is that as big as he is, he's got to learn to play with that big size. That's what Pat Ewing is having to learn at Georgetown.
Ewing much more flexible, particularly the upper line. Dreiling plays very stiff.
And we're going to have a substitution. Jarko Djurcic. Djurcic from Yugoslavia has now checked in. He is 6'10", a junior. They think he's going to be quite a basketball player. Dreiling will leave. Tough afternoon for this young freshman. He, along with Stuart Gray, who we had earlier, and Pat Ewing, we've got to look at all 3 freshmen. Right now, Ewing's been the most impressive of the 3.
By far. I think that Ewing and Michael Jordan from the University of North Carolina have been the 2 top freshmen as far as performance this year in college basketball.
Boy, the Tar Heels are amazing. What a job they have done. Here's Mike Jones handling the ball. Wichita State needs to settle down. They trail 53-47.
Go back in a little zone action of their own.
Jones with Anderson playing a tough defensive reach in. Johnson back to Anderson. That'll count. And a foul on Jones. Sherrod will come in replacing Jones. Sherrod has been their only offensive man in the second half. And Smithson talks it over with the senior, whose brother is one of the assistant coaches, and Presley now has returned from the dressing room. So that's good news. He's going to be all right. I'm really impressed with Presley. At the line with 12 points is Anderson. He's 2 of 2 from the stripe.
Guys are getting in that lane awful quick. It hadn't been called yet.
Biggest lead of the game, 56-47 for Tulsa. Now, Sherrod will have to try to get that hot hand back. Martin having trouble finding him. There's Sherrod. He may just put him up.
You have Johnson out there on the key, top of the key, and he's tough at 6'10" size.
Martin tried to follow, and he's been fouled by Herb Johnson, the young man you mentioned. You know, Johnson is an enigma. He thinks at 6'10", he's not that tall. He thinks he's a guard. He'd like to play out there. Of course, he's grown 2 inches since he came from high school.
You see, when he plays out at the top, though, it's very difficult to swing the ball because you've got a guy at 6'10" size. You can't lob it over him. He's got the good wingspan.
He likes to be Mike Magic Johnson. In fact, his nickname is Magic 2. He's got a ways to go yet.
Yeah, I would say that he's got a good idol, though.
Look at the turnover situation. There's Sherrod again. He's got to bring him back if anybody is. 19 points for Sherrod. Johnson off to Spradling, and they wisely will bring it out. Well, they were going to. Johnson. Jersey comes down with it.
Oh, a bad lob pass. Got away with it.
He almost walked with it. There's Sherrod again, 21 points. Boy, can he shoot the ball. Andre Sherrod now with 22 points in this game. 56-51, a 5-point lead for Tulsa.
Cressy coming back into the ball game now. Wichita State doing a good job in their man-to-man. That was a push-off inside by Johnson.
Here comes Sherrod. I said he had 22. He has 21, and he's fouled by Anderson. And Sherrod, since coming off the bench, is giving him a lift. Cressy comes in, and the crowd loves it. Herb Johnson will check out.
Here we're going to see Sherrod making his turn, gets fouled by Anderson, no question about it.
And a timeout is called by Tulsa. 12:28 to go. 5-point lead for the Hurricane.
For the past 4 years, the Sylvania Superset has beaten RCA and Zenith in an independent test for best overall color picture.
What about Sony?
And now, for the 5th time, more people once again picked the 19-inch Sylvania Superset over RCA and Zenith for best color picture.
What about Sony?
And this year, we even tested against Sony and won. The Sylvania Superset.
Tonight, the Martins are watching their whole world go up in flames. A home they may never get back.
Allstate update. Home replacement guarantee.
The Martins have homeowners insurance, but they don't have Allstate's home replacement guarantee. It's better than inflation protection alone, because it guarantees Allstate will pay to totally rebuild your home, brick for brick, regardless of cost. Today, you need Allstate's home replacement guarantee. Another reason you're in good hands with Allstate.
Big Mac, filet, fish, quarter pounder, French fries, icy cold stick shake, Sundays, apple pie. Big Mac, filet, fish, quarter pounder, French fries, icy cold stick shake, Sundays, apple pie. If you're hungry, then for goodness sake, give yourself a tasty break. With Big Mac, filet, fish, quarter pounder, French fries, icy cold stick shake, Sundays, apple pie. At McDonald's.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. H the Place, KTOL TV in Tulsa.
Madison Square Garden and our viewers on CBS are really in store for a treat. This will be following this basketball game.
You know who I heard is going to sit in the chair to judge that?
No.
Jimmy Connor. That'd be worth the price of admission alone.
The big stat in the second half is 7 turnovers by Wichita State. Tulsa has not committed any.
Now we're back into the zone with Cressy out there on the floor again. Good trap inside.
McDaniel and Antoine Carr, bad leg and all, just horsed it in.
Boy, he's showing some real courage out here today.
11 points for Carr. Now he's going to have to pick him up. Livingston on the bench with 4. Dreiling with 4. Anderson, look at Martin play tough on him. Didn't bother him, did it?
Well, that was excellent defense, and this kid Anderson just tough as nails, too, to be able to get that shot off. Wonder how long Gene Smithson's going to keep Livingston on the bench. He's got to make that decision here shortly.
Here's to Jursic, young man from Yugoslavia. He's had to learn a lot since coming over. And it goes to Carr again, and he's fouled. It'll count. And now, Wichita State starting to make a push. 13 points for Carr.
This is quite a shot by Antoine Carr. Good defense against him. He still gets the shot off, altered the shot by moving his hand a little bit to the right. He's showing what he's made of today, because when he came out to warm up before this game, he could not hardly walk.
He has 13 points, 4 rebounds. Last year, a second-team All-Missouri Valley Conference pick. Look at Vanley rip it down. Anderson, he's got the hot hand. What a pass! Cressy is fouled. The foul on Sherrod, or McDaniel, rather. What a pass that time by Anderson.
Great Corduroy. He'll fire this ball right underneath the defender. Over there to Pressey, who uses his body so well when he goes up for the shots inside.
You know, we knew this guy was going to play well, but Anderson, to me, has really been a surprise. 16 points for Pressey. 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals.
Had a little bit too much motion going on his foul shot that time. He realizes it.
Looks like he's moving all right after that injury when he had to go to the dressing room.
Once again, the players in the lane very quickly, and that could come up later on in the game. Pressey again.
Stewart will put this one away.
Pressey is just absolutely disrupting the game with his ability defensively. I think he's got Wichita State shell shock. When they see him coming, they just can't handle the ball.
Well, you remember I said last year.
There he is again.
Yeah, from bringing the ball across the midcourt line for 3 minutes. I can see how it happened now. Reminds you a lot of Don Cheney, those long arms, playing the defense. Carr.
They've got to come back with Livingston. We're down to 10 minutes now, and it may be too late to wait much longer.
5-point lead for Tulsa. Remember now, they've won 25 straight here. The 18th ranked Golden Hurricane. Wichita State dropped out of our top 20 after a tough loss against Bradley. Bradley. And coming up with it is Carr Martin. 3-on-2. Gerard. And he has been the man that they are going to have to rely on. 23 for him.
Notice how he pulled up to take that jump shot. Perfect form. There's Livingston looking at that clock, too. He'd like to get back in there.
Manley. Manley posting up very effectively on that play. The most improved player on this team. He has 6 points. 62-57. Again, Pressey's getting them fixed.
You see Sherrod, though, he realized he was behind him, and he relaxed a little bit.
Sherrod again. One of the cues missed, and Manley being a force now. Here comes Anderson. He sees Pressey. Spectacular basketball. And Wichita State's going to regroup. They call timeout. Spectacular play that time. 64-57. Tulsa with the lead. CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this word from your local station.
Captain Dollar Saver announces one of the finest selections of shoes in Tulsa. Dollar Saver has obtained a $700,000 inventory from a major South Carolina department store. Over 15,000 pairs of men's, women's, and children's shoes, including spring and summer fashions in 82 styles. For the men, Bill Blass, Nunbush, Nike, and Rob Lee. For the women, Deliso, Lifestride, Bass, Fanfare, Amalfi, Air Steps, plus Buster Brown, Nike, and Action Treads for the kids. Hurry for the best selection. This is one of the largest and finest shoe stocks ever to be put on sale in Tulsa, now at Dollar Saver.
Southern has a pre-way fireplace heat circulating insert. It'll just go right up in your masonry fireplace and keep that good heat. A fan whoops it out there on you. It don't go up the chimney. Energy saving. Go see Sutherland.
Sutherland, your family's building friend.
Let Sutherland show you how to be warm and cozy and save money too.
Next week, Billy and I will be on the horizon to bring you the University of Alabama, Birmingham. Gene Bartow's club, such a surprise against the DePaul Blue Demons and Terry Cummings, who we were so impressed with a few weeks ago. That's 2:30 Eastern. That should be quite a basketball game.
And we'll get an opportunity to see Oliver Robinson play in that ball game. Another great guard that we have around the nation.
Well, the player of the game, we got to select it. My one candidate, obviously, is this guy, Paul Pressey.
He's certainly running for it, Gary. I'm really surprised Livingston's not back in the ball game.
Also, we have to consider Sherrod, I think, for Wichita State. There's the time left. Here's an interesting statistic. Tulsa has 17 points this half on 8 Wichita State turnovers.
Here's that 1-3-1 half-court trap again.
Sherrod with a hot hand, but he can't hang on to it. Here they come. Stewart, can he save it? He did.
Pressey has to slow down a little bit, get into the offense.
There's the man who's just been something. Tried to hand off to Manley. The Jersic commits the foul, and Smithson wanted the traveling call.
It was awful close. Pressey came across that lane. I thought he was going to go all the way to the hoop, gave that little sleight of the hand pass inside. This guy Vanley's played a fine game, too, particularly off the boards. He's been a real tower of strength. And what we have to remember, without David Brown in the game, Tulsa has gone to more minutes for the guys that have been playing so far today. Normally, 28, 29 minutes is all the leading guy will see.
A missed free throw in the second half. Tulsa not shooting as well from the line. The first half, they were 10 of 11. McDaniel.
Not a good shot, particularly with the score being what it is.
This is Harris from Plessy.
That was a very bad shot selection by Xavier McDaniel. His team is struggling right now. Down by 7. You've got to get better shot selection and better rebounding position.
Steve Harris, well, they know to get down the floor when they have Plessy at the other end. Rebound, McDaniel. He got it. Nice effort by Xavier McDaniel.
One of the things, Gary, when your man takes a bad shot, nobody anticipating it, nobody's in good position to be back and defend against the break either. And when you have a guy like Sherrod who's trying to get down the corner for jump shots, that only puts one guard back. That's why the uncontested plays by Tulsa.
Harris brings it out to Pressey. That's a tough shot. He is unconscious right now.
So smooth.
Beautiful. 68-59, and we're going to have a foul.
Foul on Anderson.
And now Livingston will be coming in with the 4 foul. Jersik will check out.
We'll see the trip right there. Might have been on Harris.
It was on Harris.
I'm sorry, Harris.
That's his second. Harris is the man who's been shooting so well. He's really giving him a lift. And the outside shooting tries to go for the steal.
Harris is going to be another guy going to be able to steal before this year's over.
Sherrod is just...
There's the case that I was talking about.
Look at that. Nice defensive play, but they're going to call Sherrod for a foul.
Now there's Sherrod taking a jumper from down on the wing. Martin has got to realize when Sherrod goes to the wing, there's going to be nobody back. So Tulsa really taking advantage of it.
They just threw it over Martin.
I think this was a good block. Let's see. I think that ball, great camera work, Bob Fishman. I think what happened right there, Sherrod made a good block. The ball went off Anderson's leg. It should have been Wichita State's ball.
Is that where a third official would have helped?
No question. 2 guys cannot cover a ball game like this.
15 points for Anderson.
Interesting, Gary. The coaches in the Missouri Valley, 8-2 voted in favor of 3-man officiating crew, but it was not passed by the athletic directors. They are going to use a 3-man crew in their tournament, however.
Again, Tulsa missing some chances at the line. They get 1 of 2, 7-point lead, make that an 8-point lead, 69-61.
Full court press, bad lob. Boy, Wichita State can't get the crisp pass inbound.
Hard to do with Pressey guarding you on that inbound.
To that.
Tulsa this half is only 7 of 12 from the line, losing a lot of bonus opportunities. And Vanley comes out of it. Vanley's done a pretty good job.
He has done a great job. And he hasn't had any rest. One thing interesting about Tulsa's practice preparation, they play a full game scrimmage every day in practice. Look at him.
Harris talking to Richardson. He says this guy is the best pure scorer. He doesn't say shooter. He says he knows where to shoot from. He's the best pure scorer he's seen in a long time. There's a foul on Anderson reaching in on Sherrod.
Another thing that's happening at the Wichita State, when you throw the lob pass forward, it allows the defense to be in perfect position for the double team. They can get over there in position. There's no crisp passing, and so it's really getting Wichita State into some trouble, and give Tulsa a lot of credit for it, as you pointed out.
James Gibbs is checked in. He's a young junior from Mount Vernon, New York. Timeout is called by Tulsa. 7:28 to go. The Hurricane with a 10-point lead.
I'll tell you, we never realized golf was such a tough game.
Hey, it's a lot easier hitting a quarterback than a little white ball. So us Linksters drink light beer from Miller.
Not just because light tastes great, but because it's got a third less calories than a regular beer.
And it's less filling.
And you can't afford to get filled up when you're out there trying to get birdies.
Yeah, those things move awfully fast.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Every time the Connecticut State Police pulls someone over, a Honeywell computer goes to work. A Honeywell computer displays police reports on the car and warns if the driver is considered dangerous.
Affirmative. That's our man.
Roger.
License and registration, please. Will you follow me, please, Mr. Johnson? Your wife just had a baby girl.
Honeywell. You should see what we do with computers.
Millions more are turning to ABC News. We bring the newsmakers up close. The revolution makers, the peacemakers, the conquerors, and the unconquerable. See for yourself. Begin your night with ABC's World News tonight. Stay with ABC News for the last word on Nightline.
Next week, it's Super Sunday on CBS Sports. It all begins at 12 noon Eastern when you'll see championship boxing. Eusebio Pedroza defends his WBA featherweight crown against the #1 challenger, Juan Laporte. And top amateur and professional figure skaters get together for a dazzling display in Super Skates exhibition and World Cup downhill skiing from Benven, Switzerland. That should be something, not to mention Super Bowl 16. That's going to be a day where you just sit back, put up your feet, and relax, and let CBS Sports entertain you.
You know, a lot of teams have unusual coaches, weight training coaches. In the case of Tulsa, this fellow right here, Peter Adler, he happens to be a sociology professor, but he is the psychological coach for Tulsa. He gets the guys in the right wavelength and does a good job and likes basketball.
Think we ought to have one of those in our broadcasting area?
Well, I don't know about we need them out here, probably in the truck.
Sherrod with 25 points in this game, and he now has hit 4 of 6 from the line. He has been the bright spot for Wichita State today.
Can't be many better freshman guards in the country than this kid right here.
Hey, the other guy, Harris, isn't going to be bad either. He's not getting the playing time, but he could be a shooter that you'll hear a lot about. Anderson, Pressey, Harris is in there, Vanley, and also Greg Stewart.
With Gibbs in the game right now.
Tough shot by Greg Stewart.
Wichita State trying to get some more quickness. Gibbs in the ball game, trying to be out-quicking Tulsa in the backcourt. I don't know if it'll work, though, with a guy like Pressey out there.
Boy, Pressey just hounding Aubrey Sherrod. Here's Carr. Livingston in with 4 fouls. Carr, tough shot, he's fouled. Boy, just a very great competitor, this guy is. He's in pain. He's limping around. That move was a tough move to make on a bad leg.
I'm sure most people have heard this story, but Antoine Carr is really the guy that got Cliff Livingston to come to Wichita State. He played against him in an all-star game and said, hey, fella, I need you as not an opponent. I need you as a teammate. And they've been out of sight ever since.
Antoine Carr now with 14 points. Hey, mark this down. Friday, January 22nd, 11:30 Eastern. NBA action. The Lakers against the Detroit Pistons. Isaiah Thomas and Kelly Tripucka have really helped the Pistons.
Oh, they really have.
They love them in Detroit, and you'll love to watch them. Mark it down, January 22nd. Steal by Xavier McDaniel. Here's Gibbs. Gibbs who played for Rick Short, Mount Vernon, New York. He had the McRae's, too, Scooter, and Rodney. That'll be off of Stewart. Wichita State will have it. By the way, that last play down the floor, Billy, was the first turnover by Tulsa the second half. They've really protected the ball well, and Nolan Richardson has to be pretty happy the way this game is turned around. Livingston broken up. Anderson. Sherrod getting back on him, and Anderson going to come back out. 6.5 minutes left.
Smart play by Anderson. Bring it out. Use that clock a little bit.
Not
a good shot. Makes it anyway.
Oh, 10 points for the young sophomore from Phoenix. Carr inside. Coming out and trying to score is McDaniel. He walked with the ball. Great effort, though. Xavier McDaniel, very heavily recruited by the ACC schools out of Columbia. He stands 6'7". They were the Class 3A champions at AC Flora High School.
Vanley has only averaged 20 minutes of playing time a game prior to today. But he's been out there the whole time, to my knowledge. I don't remember him sitting down.
Here's Anderson again. Oh. Tulsa could do no wrong right now. Everything they put up is going in. Their quickness just becoming more and more apparent as this game wears on. Marquette now has lengthened their lead over Willis Reed and the Creighton Blues.
course, not the club they were last year. Not a good pass.
Livingston, that'll count, and bodies go everywhere. Foul's going to go on Pressey, and Livingston's shaken up.
Oh, Wichita State having some real bad luck out here. Livingston's going to get back up. Now let's see what Pressey does right here. Livingston goes up. No question, he's got to have an opportunity there. He came on the other side of the basket. We've got a new rule this year, or a new interpretation, that a man cannot occupy space that the defense already has in there, and it was very close to being a foul on Livingston. His elbow really hurt him. I think he'd be smart to sit down and bring in another foul shooter. He's not a good foul shooter anyway. He certainly hurt his arm.
You're right, he's shooting 64%. The foul was on Pressey, his third. Livingston with 13 points, but he's been on the bench a lot in foul trouble today. Got it anyway. 77-68 three-point play. Wichita State needs some more of those.
You know, surprising, Spradling has not done up much at all today, and they figured that he needs to have a big game in order to beat Wichita State.
He seemingly has those big games when they really need him. He had 17 points earlier against North Carolina in a losing cause, but he's come through on many, many occasions. Almost lost that one. Stewart, been very stable today, hasn't he? He seems to be a stabilizing force.
Trying to use a little bit of the clock right here. Wichita State back to the man-to-man, playing aggressively.
Here's Harris. He was the top guard in the state of Missouri, and there's the 5-second held ball, and it goes to Tulsa. They get it back on the alternating held ball.
Nice job by Martin. And here we go, Gary, the same situation. Defense makes a good play, but it's the offense's team to get the ball. And I think that everybody's in agreement that that rule will change next year.
We have a record attendance here today in the Tulsa Assembly Center, 9,119, and that's putting them in every nook and cranny to get them in here. But a record crowd today watching this one. Their earliest record crowd was 9,087. I don't know where they put those extra people, do you?
Manley said it was his fault. Pressey probably shouldn't have made that pass. It was a tough one to catch. Sherrod open on the far side.
Livingston saw him, and Sherrod will not have a shot, though, because of a foul. Livingston is fouled out of the ball game.
He tried to make room under that basket for himself. Livingston's going to have to sit, and that should just about wrap it up.
Turnovers, isn't that remarkable? You know, 25 points have come off of those 12 turnovers in the second half. Not 14 points for Livingston, who will sit down. And he's congratulating everybody before he goes out. Mike Jones will come in to replace him.
Well, he never could get untracked offensively, primarily because Tulsa, from the top of the key to the top of the key, and that 60 feet or so just never allowed Wichita State to operate in a half-court offense.
Boy, how this game pivoted around. Early, it was all Wichita State. They had 16 unanswered points. Looked like they were going to run away with it, and Tulsa came fighting back. And they now with 11 points in this game. He has impressed me. You haven't heard a lot about this young guy. David Brown out. He's had to be their man inside, and he has delivered. Tulsa lost to North Carolina. They lost to New Mexico State on the road, but they've lost 11 straight times there. Run away.
Jones never turned his back. Pressey out there again. Just his presence on the floor in that 1-3-1 defense causing Wichita State so many problems.
21 turnovers now against the Shockers. Harris will take that one anyway.
The fans in the Missouri Valley are going to be treated to some great matches between Harris and Sherrod before their careers are done.
Harris, they're bringing along very, very slowly. They're grooming him. Sherrod playing a lot more minutes. We're going to hear about both of them. Nice play by Carr.
Look at him run down the court, sprinting down the court, on just bringing that other leg with him.
He had to hustle because Manley got down there in a hurry. I really like the courage of that guy. 81-70, Spradling to Manley. Tulsa now has hit 10 in a row from the floor. Can you believe the way they're playing? Here's Stewart, and he is fouled. No, they're going to call a foul on Stewart.
Oh, that was some call there. Nolan Richardson's crazy. He may get his second. That was some call.
I think if the game was closer, he might have.
Well, he's got 3:50 to go. Got an 11-point lead.
Here is Tony Martin. Wichita State trailing 81-70. Jones from outside. Look at McDaniel just horse it. Xavier McDaniel. He has 8 points.
Pressey ready to take over, handling the ball. Little hesitation.
Stewart now waiting for a bite to settle.
I'm really surprised that Tulsa's not putting a little bit more of a delay on. They've got an opportunity to steal this game. They've still been forcing the action.
We want to mention something. The camera work has just been excellent today as all other days. And we have 3 cameramen today who returned home, native sons of Tulsa. David Finch, Bob Welch, and Mike Denny. They worked here for Channel 8 in Tulsa, and we captured them, took them to CBS. We're glad to have them, and we're going to be back in just a moment.
Dear Atari Anonymous, ever since we got Atari video games, our next-door neighbors have moved in. They'd rather play Atari Air-Sea Battle than go home. They'd rather play Atari Missile Command than go home. With games so ingenious, so involving, so intense. I ask you, Atari Anonymous, how far does this good neighbor policy go, huh?
How about Michelob Light for the winners? Sure, but we get mighty thirsty.
Would a bunch of guys really go at it this hard just for a beer? Well, consider it's Michelob Light, and that means a rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Those guys could have beaten the Russians today. You think they'd play us for a Michelob Light?
Michelob Light. Compare the taste.
I figure once ought to be enough to fix any car problem. I don't have time to keep going back and back and back.
Hi, didn't I see you in here the other day with a bad case of pre-ignition? Problem?
Nope, liked your work, Mr. Goodwrench. Brought my wife's car in for an oil change and filters.
Mr. Goodwrench has genuine GM parts available, and GM-trained mechanics pledged to fix your GM car right the first time.
Keep that great GM feeling.
Mr. Goodwrench makes me want to come back.
With genuine GM parts.
Well, they're warming up in Madison Square Garden for this match. Lindell against McEnroe, the semifinals. Madison Square Garden with a great deal of anticipation, as well as CBS, as we get ready to bring you that one immediately after this basketball game. Stewart at the line now has 22 points. Pressey has 20. They've been a 1-2 punch for the Golden Hurricanes.
You know, watching Tulsa play, and as effective as Pressey is, seems to me that you have to dissect them a little bit at a time. Don't try to score against that press. Merely try to get the ball over half court, then start to operate. What's happened to Wichita State? They're trying to operate right against the press, and it's really caused them problems with turnovers.
Nice ball movement that time.
And that was against the half-court defense.
83-74. This Missouri Valley chase is going to be interesting. Rattler's still unbeaten in the Valley. They have a win over Wichita State. New Mexico State has to be a factor. Of course, this Tulsa Ball Club, this will be a big, big win for them if they can pull it off with less than 3 to go.
Well, they had 3 teams in the Valley last year win 20 games or more. That's a loss.
And we're going to have a charge on Spradling. You know it.
Valley stretches 1,200 miles all the way from Terre Haute to Las Cruces, and I guess the credibility of the Valley, Larry Bird had a lot to do with the recent credibility when he led Indiana State, of course, to the Final Four. But they've been there many times before. Oklahoma A&M, 1945 and 46 national champs. Cincinnati was a member of the Valley when they won in 60 and 61. There have been some great players in this league.
Change now. Anderson coming in for Spradling. Well, Tulsa with that NIT victory, biggest turnaround for anybody to come off of an 8-win season to win the NIT. I think there's only one other coach that won it in his first year, and that was the coach of Bradley.
That's right.
Osborne, I believe it was. Osborne, and he was the guy who did it in his first year. Nolan Richardson did it in his first year. At the line with 18 points is Carr with 5 rebounds. Well, there's been great tradition. Boy, they're talking about this Tulsa team like they've talked about no other team in the school's history. Now in the backcourt.
Vanley was wide open down court. With Antoine Carr having a bad leg, he never would have been able to get there if the pass had been able to go long.
All right. Our Honeywell player of the game, and I don't think this is going to be any surprise, Paul Pressey. Look at the stats on him, Billy. 20 points, 6 steals, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 1,000 will go to the General Scholarship Fund at Tulsa University. And we didn't have to have Rick Sharp vote on that one.
No, we certainly didn't. And I don't know, although he's credited with 6 steals, I don't know how many other times just his presence created a bad pass or a poor catch.
Anderson with 19 points. It's been very good balanced scoring. 84-76. I didn't think this would be that high scoring game the way it started out. Wichita State's sitting on the ball, and all of a sudden now they're back up to where they usually are.
Jim Valvano said it needed to be a tempo game, but for both of these clubs, this is the tempo they seem to like.
Pressey always seemingly around the ball. Martin to Jones, long ways out.
Somebody needs to remind Jones that Kansas shot was just one shot in his career.
McDaniel. Carr follows inside. Antoine Carr now with 21 points. And again, remember, he wasn't even expected to play today. Foul against the Shockers. Look at this balanced scoring. Stewart with 23, Anderson and Pressey with 20, and Vanley had 12.
Interesting point made before the game by Coach Richardson. He said, you know, our guys don't have that highest stats because they don't play that many minutes. If we were out there playing 35 minutes a game with our starters, their stats would improve considerably, and he's probably right, and today that's showing.
You know, I asked Nolan Richardson if he thought this ball club was going to be better than last year's, or if they're where he wants them to be. He said, yeah, except you got to remember, we don't have David Brown. So they get Brown back. This club has to be a factor.
They'll definitely be a factor because they're so tough to play against. The press that they put on is not one that you see every day in college basketball.
It was kind of slow getting underway, but once it took hold, it really took hold. Jones, good ball movement. There's the man they want to shoot. That's one of the few he's missed. Pressey with a rebound.
Same play.
You know, Billy, it seems so simple. They're doing that, but yet they can't seem to get back on it.
Well, the floor balance is not there. If you have a guard that's going to shoot down low in the wings, as Sherrod likes to do, and then you have a guy like Martin that's trying to penetrate, nobody's going to be back there. And here's Vanley just taking down the other end. I think Sherrod got a piece of that one, too. We've got a better angle than the official has. As Sherrod's coming there, and I think that's the second time today he's able to get a piece of that ball.
At the line is Vanley. Pressey had a shoulder operation. He got hurt in the offseason. He's going to have a tired shoulder the way he throws that ball. He's thrown about 7 or 8 baseball passes at the other end of the floor.
I would imagine other clubs are going to start taking advantage of that. Say when Aubrey Sherrod takes a shot from the sidelines, break at least one guy long and try to hit him because there'll be nobody back.
Free throws in this game, 25 now, make it 26 of 33 for Tulsa. 88-78, back to a 10-point lead. Carr, big power move. Oh, and he's hurt. He is really hurting as he runs. Billy, he is running on his toe. He can't even put his foot down. We welcome the viewers of this Marquette-Creighton game. Hank Raymond's club winning. We have a game here with Tulsa leading 88-80 with a minute 55 left in the game. And Xavier McDaniel has just scored for the Shockers. The Shockers closing a little now. McDaniel with 10 points.
I'm really surprised Tulsa not using the clock at all. They just keep coming down as if that game is already over. But a minute and 44 is still a lot of time.
Jones with a foul. Let's set the stage for our viewers a little bit. It started out with Wichita State with 16 unanswered points. Then Tulsa came back with a 12-5 rally, and then it was Tulsa taking over only to see Wichita State battling back. These men, executive producer Kevin O'Malley, we want to certainly give note to. Our producer, Rick Sharp. Our director is Robert Fishman. Associate producer, Patty Turk. Doug Cleedham, the field technical manager. People who we certainly enjoy working with. We thank them for their support. We continue to bring you NCAA basketball. Thanks to our statistician doing another excellent job, Mike Swanson. 90-82. But as you said, Billy, they haven't really used the clock the way they probably should be. Carr is fouled by Greg Stewart. Stewart has had a good game. Tulsa has outstanding balance scoring. They have 3 men who have 20 or more points, and one of those is Stewart, who just committed the foul.
A couple of things you don't want to do defensively if you're Tulsa right now. You don't want to foul. You want that clock to run a little bit. Minute 36 to go. You put a guy in the foul line. Obviously, it gives him a chance to score, but in addition to that, it stops the clock.
Here's the outstanding freshman, Aubrey Sherrod, with 24 points. He's now hit 6 of 8 from the free throw line. I'm sorry, Antoine Carr. Carr with 24 points. It's been Sherrod and Carr. Carr wasn't even expected to play in this game. He's really gimpy. He's had a leg that's given him a great deal of difficulty, but he's come off the bench to play. Here is Vanley.
I thought both of those fellas are going to fire up his shot. All they need to do is work the clock now.
Sherrod with 27, 24 points for Carr.
Wichita State has got to start fouling.
Here is Stewart. You see the time remaining in the game. Tulsa's won 25 straight at home.
They've got the foul.
9-0 this year, and there's the foul on Sherrod, reaching in on Steve Harris.
Harris, an 82% shooter. Vanley, who they had an opportunity, is a 68% shooter. They really ought to know out there who to foul. Try to get him as soon as they can. Just a minute to go, 6 down. They've got to stop that clock.
Okay, now after we conclude this game, we'll be switching to Madison Square Garden, the semifinals of the Grand Prix Masters Tennis. Ron Lindell against John McEnroe. Stay with us. We'll be going there immediately after this.
Young kids want to watch proper form on a foul shot. Take a look at Harris, just a freshman. Look at that follow-through. Is that nothing but poor?
2 outstanding young freshmen, shooters, Sherrod and Harris. Harris with 8 points, 92-84. A minute now left in this game. He's had a cold hand, but here's the man that's hot with 27. Sherrod, but Plessy comes up with it. To Anderson, he's done this all afternoon long. It counts. A foul on Martin.
Pressy again with a steal. Length of the court pass. It's almost been a replay. For fans that haven't been with us all game, well, if you saw that once, you saw it about 5 times today.
Pressy was picked as our player of the game for just that kind of play. He has continually gotten away with throwing that ball the length of the floor. He brought this team back. There he is. He's a senior out of Richmond, Virginia. Played in junior college for Nolan Richardson. And at the line, 26 points for this young man. Another senior from Birmingham, Alabama. He has 20 of those 26 points in the second half. That was his first free throw after hitting 7 in a row that he's missed. There they go. Herb Johnson.
That's about the 4th time today that Pressy has stolen the ball from behind after the dribbler went by it.
Another turnover in this game. 23 turnovers against Wichita State. And most of those occurring in the second half, giving up a lot of points, too.
I guarantee you, guys will go to sleep tonight and they'll see Pressy in their dream.
In this half, Tulsa scored 31 points. Wichita State, 16. And there's Martin. 96-86. Here's Anderson again. Stewart. The basket will count. Carr with a foul.
Carr, the only one back against the 3-on-1 fast break. I can't say enough about Antoine Carr. His physical condition before this game was such that he almost ought to be in bed. Not to say that he shouldn't be playing out here from a doctor's standpoint, but that kid has really put on a show today, considering how tough a shape his leg was in.
Here's another one of the big factors, Stewart. Don't forget now, tennis to follow. Lindell against McEnroe, 2 fierce competitors. So we wrap it up here. Tulsa now will win their 26th straight game at home. 10-0 this year, and their 4th in a row over Wichita State. There's a foul on Steve Harris with 4 seconds left. And this Tulsa ball club, the NIT champions, they're going to be something, Billy.
Well, you can see the race. Now, one important thing in the Valley. Bradley does not have to come to play at Tulsa this year. Because of the addition, new club in the league, Bradley is not going to have that. So that will be a big advantage for Dick Versace's club.
Xavier McDaniel, who's played well in this game. The young freshman from Columbia, South Carolina, has 11 points. I said 31 points by Wichita State in the second half. It came on 16 shocker turnovers. That shows you how costly it's been in this game for them. Presses to Stewart. That won't count. The game is over. The Golden Hurricane of Tulsa with a 99-88 victory. The Honeywell player of the game is Paul Pressey. The Honeywell $1,000 donation be made to the General Scholarship Fund of the University of Tulsa. Lindell against McEnroe. Grand Prix tennis from Madison Square Garden. It'll be following. For Billy Packer, I'm Gary Bender. NCAA basketball has been a presentation of CBS Sports.
CB.
It's no secret what makes Rainbow honey grain bread taste so good, because we bake it with 7 whole grains and the naturally sweet goodness of pure golden honey. So you not only get the vitamins, minerals, and protein you just naturally expect from the Staff of Life bread, you get a taste